Carol here, and welcome to my craft room. This I have named the good, the bad, then the lovely, because this card, I started out with a technique I saw over on Jennifer McGuire, and it's taking white embossing or white ink, and I took Stampin' Up! White ink, and I'm using Mama Elephant Sentiment here, Tie the Knot. And my background stamp is a stamp that I have with sneakers all over it. So here I am just making enough space so I know that my sentiment is going to go there in the middle. Now, the easiest way to do this card is to have your stamps, your background stamps photopolymer so you can see through them. But I didn't have any of those, so I'm just preparing my card here, 140-pound cardstock, and it's going to be a top folding card. And I had a stamp that was pretty good. It's Stampin' Up, but it was a wood-mounted stamp, so you couldn't see down to double stamp them. But anyway, I'm taking my sneakers and I'm putting white ink all over it. And I am placing it over top of my cardstock, which is 140 pounds, white cardstock. And once you get this white ink down and you put colored ink over top of it, the white ink will work its way through, and it has an amazing effect, except for not on this card. Like I said, this is what happens when I do these clean and simple cards. But anyway, I'm just going to let that go, and we are going to see what happens. So it's all on there. I heat set it just so it's not so wet and it doesn't go onto my stamp. So I thought I better just heat set it a little bit, and you can see me doing that there. And then I take just a piece of typing paper, put it over top. Now here's where the fun begins. I take my stamp and I take my Stampin' Up! Ink, and it's so hot. I'm going to show you how juicy this ink is. So hot in my craft room. It's the only room in my house with no central air, and it's been 100 degrees outside. So what does that tell you? My inks were melting before your eyes. So here I'm just trying to figure out, okay, how can I put this over top without using a Stamp-A-Majig? And look at that, not a bad job. And so it's not too bad. It's going pretty well right here. You know, I'm feeling pretty happy. So now we're going to wipe off the stamp, and we're going to start again. Each time, yes, I'm taking a piece of paper. Each time you do this, you want to wipe that stamp off because you're getting some of the white ink with it, right? And you're going to change colors. So you can see those sneakers coming through, and I thought, oh, it's going really well. But let's just see what happens. So now I take that and I put it on the top, but my white spaces are getting crooked. I don't know if I should have really had a grid. See, that's showing you all the bubbles in my inks. It's that hot in my craft room. And I just showed you it was, yeah, pretty wet ink. It's wet to begin with, but boy, this room is pretty hot. But I stuck through it. So now I'm wiping down that stamp because you're going to need it nice and clean. And actually, here's where I decide I want to make it a little darker. And the easiest way for me to do that in the spaces here, oh, I got some on the white space. So that wasn't any good. So I grabbed some paper and I decided to go over the inks so that the white would show through. And I would get rid of that. The white sneakers would show through, and I would get rid of all that white. And it would look a little better. I tried to measure them out so that my spaces looked even. And this is how I thought I could do it, just by taking your ink, and I'm looking at it. Okay, that looks a bit better. It's not so bad. And then I had hearts in the corners. I had a heart stamp. But the idea of this card is to have solid stamps when you do this. So there, I filled that in. Not too bad. So now I'm going to take it and I'm going to get rid of this white line. Okay, that looks a tad bit better, but I'm going to have to get rid of that one on the top too. Yep, there you go. Yeah, and to tell you the truth, I was not pleased looking at this, but I knew not to throw the card out, just to keep prodding along. So that's what I start doing, is thinking, okay, what if I cut all of those shapes out? This is your clean and simple card. It was clean, it just wasn't getting any simpler. So I start cutting all those shapes out and putting them to the side. And I'm thinking, all right, so now I'm going to put this onto a top folding card and I'll measure it and it won't look so bad. I'm thinking this. And, you know, besides sweating to death in my craft room, I was coming along pretty good. And I wish I could work this fast because it wouldn't be so bad. My, we are having a heat wave. All right, so I put it on and I'm really getting encouraged here. This card could possibly be a nice, clean, and simple card. So let's see, we get that on there. But even cutting them out, I wasn't liking the look of this. I was putting it down, you know, as I thought the shapes, I think it was the white that was throwing me off on here, you know, the different, one's going one way and one's going, you know, it's just, I mean, I could have called it a symmetrical card and left it at that, but I thought, okay, get your tape runner and let's see. Let's get it all on there and see what it looks like. So the technique was really nice because if you take the white ink, you put dark over top, and then the white ink will show through, and it does look pretty. So here we have that one down, and I love the colors, the Stampin' Up! Colors that I picked on here. And I thought there was going to be hope for this card. Well, yeah, this is my clean and simple card, and I thought, you can do it, Carol, come on. Keep going. So I take the tape runner, and there you go. I'm fitting the corners in there, and then I take the next one. It doesn't look that bad. And then I decide I'm leaving my craft room. Yeah, I thought, okay, so then I put this sentiment. This is my bad card makeover. I put tie the knot on a round piece of paper and put it there. Did not like it. I left it in there 2 or 3 days. So here I'm starting again. I came back in my room and I'm thinking, all right, I'm doing something different with this card. I'm not going to just let it sit there. I'm going to create something because that's what I do. And I started over. So I used Versamark and I put all of those sneakers on that white 140-pound cardstock. I put the sneakers on there and I heat set it. But this is white embossing powder I put on it. So there's Versamark and then white embossing powder here. So after I get that heat set, cleaned up, everything cleaned up, I'm going in with a good attitude here. I heat set it. So, and it looked pretty good. You've got sneakers all over the place, white on white, and you know, my mind just kept working. Now we have to come up with, clean up that card. You're not just going to get rid of all that. You work too much time on it, so let's keep going. Took my ombre ink here. This is where things started to come alive. Oh yeah, look at that. 3 colors in one, and I just did ink to paper technique, and it dried. Oh my, it looked beautiful. And I love this rubber mat that I got when I first started stamping. Got it online, and I'm telling you, everything comes off it. You cannot do any damage to that. So here I'm setting it, and all the white sneakers are showing through, and I'm thinking, okay, this is going to be good. Yeah. It was hard to dry that because it was really, very hot in my room. So I take a different stamp, a different die. I wanted a square one that showed a little bit more of the sneakers. So I set it up there I wanted to catch the ombre look. I wanted to catch see how I'm moving it around? Where do I get the dark, the mid-tone, and the light all together in this? And once I find it right there, I take some medical tape, yeah, and I put that over top, run it through my Vagabond, bring it back, and I'm thinking, this isn't bad. And it has those little square holes, which I really liked. And so I get that mess cleaned up, pick all the holes out of there, and then I take the ombre ink again, and I do the two sides, and I'm showing you, I don't even know what that says, it's too small and I'm going too fast. I clean up once again. I spend most of my time, I have to work on a clean surface, so I'm thinking, okay, what if it covered it there? Look at, yeah, I don't know. Let's get some black cardstock. So I cut a whole half a sheet full of different sizes because I'm determined to fill those white spaces in. I'm thinking that's going to make the card look better. Something's got to make that card look better. So I cut it all up and I take a piece of vellum. I have this idea to use some vellum. I'm going to wrap some vellum across it. And there you go. So there, let's see what I do with this. I take my card and I'm thinking, those white that white is too stark. It has to go. And I mean, I'm making a good card gone bad to lovely. Keep that in your mind here. So okay, covered that, and I used Ranger multi-medium glue right here, and that fit nicely. So I put that in there, and it's starting to look all right to me already. Whew. You know, and I'm trying to make it so it doesn't look crooked. So I'm taking bigger sizes. I want to kind of straighten the angle out on here. So some of my paper, you will see, I'm trying to turn it so that it looks like it's a little bit more even as it goes down the card. And I love that Ranger multi-medium glue because it dries clear and it dries well on your card. So now I'm taking a whole bunch of pieces. Where are they going to fit? Yep, that one will fit there. And I'm going to cover those white spots. And what's nice about this is it changes the whole look. It makes it from all uneven, and you're able to take those different sizes and make it even. So I'm grabbing them left, right, and center and working with them. And okay, what do you think? Now I got that big piece there, and not one of those pieces I cut were big enough. So I looked over and I saw this piece and I started cutting on it. And didn't measure a thing. I just thought, yeah, no, didn't fit. Oh, that one did. Let me cut that. Isn't it funny? We'd rather just eyeball it than go measure it. So I found the way it will fit in there, and I put some glue on, and quickly, yes, whew, that's done. So now I'm trying to think, okay, how am I going to put this on there with the vellum? And, you know, should it be angled straight? Should it be crooked? So anyway, I take my scissors and I cut all the pieces that were sticking out off so that when I looked at it, I could kind of see, okay, am I going to be able to recover this? Is it going to look, you know, like a nice card, something I would give away? And remember, the thing is, I have sneakers all over the place, and it's the sentiment from Mama Elephant says, tie the knot. So that's what I'm working with. Okay, clean up again. Yes, clean it all up. Now we're starting in again. Yep, nice and clean. Now I get the vellum. So I have tie the knot. I decide this time to use Versamark and black embossing powder. And it's ultra-fine black embossing powder, so I've taken my duster there so I won't have many strays on the vellum, using my Wow black extra fine. And it's starting to look good. I'm thinking, wow, this isn't bad. Isn't that a nice font on there? It's really nice. So here I've taken my heat tool. heated up, and I'm starting to really get excited about this card. It's changing before my very eyes. So here's the card. Here's what I've got to work with. And I'm thinking, I don't like the edges of this. So I get this one was coming up a bit. So I thought I'll put some glue under there and I'll hold it down, and then I decide I am going to, see, it's not looking pretty bad. I get my card ready there, and I'm thinking, all right, this isn't too bad. Here's where it starts. I start cutting it with scissors, no less. Yeah, and it was not coming up. So I went over and used my Fiskars, my really good cutter, and I cut those edges beautiful. It just cut it like butter. But I made it at least a quarter of an inch in on the sides. I made it shorter, and I made it come in quarter of an inch. And I'll show you why once we do this. And I distressed it. Took my distress tool, distressed the edges, and then on those little pieces of paper that I had made my sentiment with, it had 4 little sneakers on there. So I cut them out, and I decided to take my Copics right here, 3 tones, mid-tone, light and dark, and do the backs of these sneakers. Because these sneakers were on, remember, that's what I used to make the label for the front of the card for my sentiment. So I Copic colored them so it looked like the ink, the ombre ink. I gave it an ombre look, put glossy accents all over the front, went around the edges with the dark orange, and they're ready. They're drying over there. I left them there for about a half an hour, came back still wet. Now look at, I put my paper right over top of them. So I get out some black and white striped washi tape. This is looking pretty good, isn't it? Like, you know, I'm thinking, yeah, there's no way that card is going to go in the garbage. So there, I put that alongside there, and I'm kind of liking it. So now I get my double-sided tape, my Suquing tape, which sticks really well, and I put it to the back of my square sentiment piece that we did the ombre inks, and it says tie the knot on it. And I wasn't worried about going over the holes because, of course, it's see-through tape, and I'm going to have the vellum over it, right? So I take all of that off with my pokey tool. Yeah, I'm trying to get it there, and I'm doing it really fast here, aren't I? I wish I could work that fast because it was really boiling hot in that room. So I get that on, yeah, and I'm thinking to myself, okay, let's fold that over, see how this looks. I liked it, cut it off, then I made some pleats in it so it looked really nice. And I took my extreme tape so it wouldn't come off, and I'm looking at it going, wow. So I had this punch that punched out the same style oval hole right next there, and I'm going to use black and white twine inside there, and I'm going to tie a knot, actually a bow. So I take my twine, and all these ideas are coming to me. I'm getting, I'm really happy about this. That one card that looked so ugly at first, I'm starting to be happy with my card, actually. So I feed them through the back like that, and kind of make them even. And then I tie them in a bow. That one is the right side I'm tying. And then I put a little glue dot under the bow, cut them off, and I twirly a little glue dot underneath so it holds it in place right here. There we are, goes right underneath. And I do the same on the other side. I tie a nice bow. Actually, I tie a knot because it says tie the knot, as in getting married. But I tied bows there, and I cut them even. And then those little sneakers, those 4 little sneakers, they're going to hang one on each of the strings from the bow to match the background sneakers. And it's so crazy cute. Seriously. I put one on each side. Now, the glossy accents were just a tad sticky. I'm just showing you because the room is so hot. But I kept going into the house where I had central air. It was really cold. And then I come up and spend a little bit of time in the craft room. And I just wanted to get this finished here. So I've got the glossy accents on the back. And these little sneakers are going to hang off that string where it says tie the knot. And one is going to face one way and one the other way. I think my only battle that I had here was it was so hot, and it was hard to, get them to stick. Yeah, see how I'm trying to put something underneath it, and I'm thinking, come on, you got to stick to that twine because I'm almost finished. And then I took out some of those dots that matched the card, and I'm going to put some of those on there. You see them there up on the right corner. There, I'm fighting with them. I'm going to show you how I haven't put it down. See how they're dangling? I really love that look, and those sneakers just look so cute hanging from that bow. I didn't get all of them put on at once, but because I had to wait for it to dry. But now I am going to put a piece of felt, double-sided felt. I cut it out to the size I need. And this is dollar store felt. I took the back off, and it's all sticky. I buy the sticky back because I cut them with my scissors, not with my cutter. Cut it with my scissors. So here I'm putting 3 pieces of sequin double-sided tape, taking it off, and I love this card. I'm so glad I didn't throw it out. You work so hard. It is true to come back into your room and leave it there, even if it's a few days like I did, and then come back and work on it. Your ideas will come. Your mojo will just connect with it, and you'll figure it out. I'm trying to show you that I can't put those 2 ones on there yet because it's still wet. So here I take my dots, and they're the same color as all the cards. The peaches, 3 tones of the peach color, and the gray and the green. And I'm placing them all over, and I think I put 7 on there. And they range from small, tiny, small, medium, and large. So I grab the pack, and I'm looking at it. There's my little shoes. Minus 2, and I put those on at the end, but I start taking them off. I'm thinking I'm putting them away. Yeah, I only want 5. I took that big one off there. It's just too much. So, and then I left the little ones on there. So here's the card. I'm very happy. I'm happy you joined me, and I'm glad I pressed on to make this a nice card. Have a blessed evening.